Hi, friend. I'm so glad you're here listening in because this is the halfway point, and this behind the scenes episode is so good because I'm 5 days into my membership launch at the time of this recording, and the feels are so real and so different from last week. I have an overwhelming sense of calm this week instead of panic. Last week, I was a train wreck when I was recording this, but this week I'm feeling okay, and I can't wait to tell you why. This episode is so good, and I'm so glad you're here, so thank you for spending some time with me today. Welcome to the Marketing Yoga with Confidence podcast. I'm your host, Amanda McKinney, and I couldn't be more pumped that you're here with me today. These behind-the-scenes episodes have become so special for me. I decided that when my membership site was open for enrollment, which is happening right now, by the way, that I would share all about how I'm feeling. And if I haven't had the pleasure of connecting with you before, here's a snapshot of who the heck I am. I am a marketing coach for yoga teachers. It's my dream job, and I love every second of it. I get to encourage yoga teachers just like you every single day to market their yoga in an authentic way that will help you earn more money to live the life you want. And how amazing is that? This episode is brought to you by my membership, and it's open for enrollment right now. If you're listening to this in real time, please jump in there and see what it's all about. The doors are going to close on September 27th for the rest of 2019. That's right, I am not messing around with this one. I invest so much time and energy into the membership that I just can't launch all the time. As you can imagine, and as you're hearing in these behind the scenes episodes, it takes a lot to launch. And so I didn't want to do that all the time. So I'm only launching and opening the membership for enrollment a few times a year, and this is the last time in 2019. So if you want to start 2020 strong, now's the time to sign up, and I can't wait to write your name on a Post-it. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, make sure to listen to the past few episodes where I talk about how I set my goals for the membership and what the Post-it system is all about. You can learn more about the membership on my website at marketingyogawithconfidence.com/membership. And because I know marketing is hard, what I often encourage yoga teachers to do is to ask their students how they describe their yoga class. Or what about that workshop that you're trying to get people signed up for? This is when you want to ask for other people's words. And so I've listened to my own advice, and I have a few words from both founding members as well as new members to share with you to talk to you about what the membership is all about. And these next few comments are what the founding members and brand new members said when I asked the question, what would you say to a yoga teacher that's on the fence? One of the founding members, Kristen, she says this: the support. People respond with real-time help that's deep and not just hitting the surface. Amanda is present, keeping the conversation going, but also bringing up things we may not have thought about. I found the live calls so helpful in addition to the recorded videos in the membership. Thank you, Kristen. And another founding member, Krista, says this, and it's such powerful words. For perspective, I belong to another monthly membership that's more general business that's twice the price. This membership is long-term for me because teaching yoga is long-term for me. I'll drop out when I don't want my business to grow. I'm drowning in money, and I don't need help from anyone else, and I'm perfect. And since none of these things are going to happen anytime soon, I need the help. We practice yoga personally. We continue to grow and practice as teachers. We need a forum to grow and better ourselves in business also. For the small investment of 2 student class fees, you get the support and skills to turn that investment into packed classes. Yes, Krista, yes. I love that she's looking at it in terms of return on investment. And another founding member, Megan, she says, get off the fence, the grass is green, and the content, the support, and the teachers are nice over here. Thank you, Megan. And brand new member, Kate, says this. First, it's $25 a month, so it's really low risk, and the support that has been given by the group is more than worth it. And on top of that, you get Amanda with all her expertise. Go for it. I love all of these words from founding members who've been in the membership for several months now and the brand new members who just joined. The value is there, and I can't wait to welcome you into the membership. But for now, let's dive in and talk about how the launch is going for me with all this heavy marketing. At the time of this recording, the doors have been open to the membership for 5 days, and I have 9 more to go. I've shared this before, but I use a 2-week launch period, so I hit it hard every single day during those 14 days. It's a lot, but it's also really concentrated effort, and I'm happy to tell you that it's working and I'm still smiling. My hard work over the past month has really paid off. I did all the prep work, and now I just have to show up in a different way. And on that note, it takes a lot of energy to be showing up, so I don't want to dismiss that. It's just a different level of what I have to do every single day. So in this week, I'm showing up on video every day, I'm responding to messages and showing up in that way, not writing emails and scheduling them and doing the task that come before the launch. The one thing that I did learn, and I made a huge note of this time around, is that I did really well of blocking off my calendar for the weeks that the launch were happening. So this week and next week, I really cleared my calendar. The problem is that I didn't clear my calendar for the 2 weeks before the launch. I had some things that were on my calendar that were there, and I should have planned better for it, but I didn't. But now I know that the two or three weeks before the doors open to the membership is the heaviest time for me, because that's when I'm doing all the prep work. So overall, I just know I need to mark my calendar a little bit better the next time around. But it's definitely been noted, and now it's documented on this episode. So let's dive into some numbers, because I know you want to know what's going on and all the things I'm learning, and I can't wait to share it with you. And then after I talk about these numbers, I actually have some questions that were asked in my Facebook group that I'll be answering in this episode. I love answering your questions, so please always send them in. But on to the numbers. So I'm happy to say that I've welcomed in 14 new members so far at the time of this recording. And if you remember back a few episodes ago, I told you my big goal of welcoming in 100 yoga teachers. So as you can tell, I'm pretty far off from my goal, but I'm not freaking out. And that's because I have past experiences and numbers to help me. Because the truth is that so many people purchase things based on urgency, no matter what it is. It could be a membership, a pair of pants, or that pumpkin spice latte that only comes out for a few months of the year at Starbucks. We have that sense of urgency, and so I know that I will get the most signups towards the end of the 14-day period. And for reference, 61% of my founding members joined on the last 2 days when the doors were open last time. So this is exactly why I'm not freaking out right now. If there's anything I can share with you, it's that I want you to always finish strong, no matter what you're doing. If you are welcoming people into a workshop or inviting people to class, remember that you have to keep going. You have to start now and keep going with whatever you're marketing, because if you don't finish strong, you're actually going to miss out on some people. Because if I would have stopped on day number 4 of my founding members launch, I would have only had 4 founding members. And what about those other 32 yoga teachers? 32 yoga teachers came after those first 4 days. And if they were sitting here and talking to me and on this podcast episode with me, I bet they would say, "Thank you, Amanda. Thank you for not stopping. Thank you for continuing on." I want you to remember that. I want you to remember that when you feel like giving up because the first few days didn't go as well as you planned, or as well as you hoped, really, because maybe you didn't even think about it. You just hoped that people would sign up that first day. I want you to know that you need to keep going. There are people out there that are ready to sign up. They just don't know about you yet. They don't know about your offering. And this is exactly where I am right now. I just need to keep talking about the membership, and those who are interested will listen, and those who aren't interested will not listen, and that's okay too, because it's not right for everyone, but it is right for others, and those are the ones that I want to reach. So other than the numbers and asking, how many people I'm welcoming in and am I freaking out because I don't have all the Post-its filled out just quite yet, I got most of the questions related to what my day looks like during this launch. And my days look totally different during the launch than they do on a typical day. My typical day, I get up really early. I'm such a morning person. Sometimes I have drop-off duty. I do have one stepchild that still lives at home, so I have drop-off sometimes. And then I get started with my day, and I'm pretty structured with my day. I get things done, whatever's on my task list, and I have very specific things that I do on certain days of the week, that sort of thing. But during a launch, oh my goodness, it's totally different. I still wake up pretty early. During these next 2 weeks, I do have the incredible blessing that my husband is doing drop-off in the morning. So I've actually allowed myself to lay in bed a little bit longer than normal. And if I'm feeling like I need to just get up and start going, I do. But the last few days, I've actually stayed in bed just a little bit longer. I'm awake, but I'm laying there. I'm kind of just starting my day a little slower than normal. But once I get up and get moving, I do make myself some breakfast and coffee, and then I get into my office. And the first thing that I do is I look at Asana. And Asana is the project management system that I use. It's a digital system that basically tells me what to do every day because I have assigned it. Every task has a date. And so I have already planned every single day during this launch. So I have everything that is critical for that day that needs to happen. So I look at Asana, it tells me what I need to do, and then I figure out, okay, when in the day will I be doing that? The majority of my day is spent on social media and an email, which is not typical at all for my other days. My typical days, I set timers. I'm only on Facebook for 15 minutes and Instagram for 15 minutes in the morning. Same thing in the afternoon. I also try really hard not to let my email manage my day. So I actually close my email for the majority of the day. But during this launch period, it's the opposite. I'm actually on social media 90% of the day, it feels like. If I'm not there, I'm in email because my job during this heavy launch period is to respond to you. If you, a yoga teacher, have a question about my membership, I want to be able to answer it. And I'm not saying I have to answer it within the next 10 minutes, but I do want to answer it within a day. So within 24 hours, if you reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram, or my email, you will get a response from me. And most often, you'll get a video response from me because that is the way I like to show up for you. Is over video. So I'll most likely record a video and send it to you in whatever way that you reached out to me. So that's the biggest thing that I do. That's the majority of my day during the launch, which totally seems exhausting, I know, but it's totally worth it too. And the last thing I do in the day is I track everything. So I look at how many people join the membership and I enter it into a spreadsheet. This allows me to track everything later and makes it much easier at the end. So stay tuned to next week's episode where I will be talking about all the numbers and all the things I tracked for sure. And then after I track my numbers, I actually shut my computer down. So this is something that I don't typically do, but I think I'm actually going to try and keep doing this because it's made such a difference during the launch. And it's that I'm actually shutting down my computer. So I don't mean putting it to sleep. This is what I usually do. I keep tabs open and I start those projects again the next day. But I don't need to be doing that. I had this thought that I wondered, if I keep these tabs open on my computer, I wonder if they're open in my mind. So what I did is I just decided during the launch, I'm going to shut the computer down completely. And so far, a few days in, I'm really loving it. So I'm going to adopt this going forward and shutting down the computer completely at the end of the day, which I think is really helpful. But at the end of the day, once I shut down my computer, I actually do my absolute best not to look at social media anymore. And I think I've only not done that maybe one time during this process and looked at social media, checked it one more time, and then moved on. But I really have tried to shut it down at the end of the day so I don't get sucked into managing all of the comments and the emails and everything. But I do get up really early and start all over again the next day. So it still makes that 24-hour mark, but I also get to spend time with my family and do things like rest and sleep and read as well. The other thing that I'm trying to fit into every single day is a little bit of movement, but it looks different from my typical movement. So I do roll out my yoga mat in my office, and I try to have some sort of movement practice throughout the day during my typical day. But right now, it looks like me laying down on my yoga mat and stretching my neck because my neck is really hurting. I'm staring at the computer more. I'm sitting in a weird way. There's just things that are happening at my desk that I don't typically do, and I'm finding that my neck is really, really hurting. So in the middle of the day, I'm actually laying down and doing some neck stretches and some movement. I have a great private yoga teacher who I reached out to and said, oh my gosh, this is happening. And she totally knows that I have this membership launch going on, and then I'm sitting at my desk, and she gave me some great tips. So dear yoga teacher listening to this, please know that your work is so impactful. You just heard me say, my neck is hurting. It's impacting my day. And in the middle of the day, I'm able to text the private yoga teacher that I work with, and I get some information. It has helped me continue on to serve you. So I just want you to know, even in that little bit, that I really appreciate all that you're doing because it's helping me help you. And another question that I got from quite a few people was around my family and how I'm keeping it together and how I'm juggling all of that during a heavy marketing period and that launch period. So the answer to that is that I prepped as much things in advance as possible. And I say this and I really mean it. I prepped the people first. So I told my family and friends, hey, this is what's going on. If it takes me longer to get back to you, if I need quiet time at home, if I'm not as chatty, this is what's going on. And really, this was even more for me than it was for them. I don't even know if they care. I don't even know if it matters to them or if they're feeling the stress coming from me. I have no idea. But it helped me know that I communicated it. So I communicated and said, hey, I need some help around the house. I need some extra grace if I don't feel as chatty. I just need a few extra things than I typically do. And that made me feel better, and it was better for my sanity. So even if it doesn't help them, totally helps me. And so that is helpful in the long run. And I prepped food. I prepped a lot of food. I meal prep every Sunday for the following week. But I am super excited to say, yes, it took a little more money. So I used a little bit more budget this week on the groceries, but I shaved off 2 hours of meal prep time. It was huge. It was huge. I immediately told my husband that it happened. I was so excited and proud of myself. And it was worth the budget. I was able to move some other things around, like we made it work. And it wasn't an insane amount of money. I didn't pay for someone else to do all the work, which is going to be amazing one of these days. But I still did all of the work, except what I did is I bought things that were pre-cut. So instead of cutting up the carrots and the broccoli and all of the things to have on hand for the week, I bought it. It was pre-cut already. That was so helpful. I bought some meals that were pre-prepared. So not pre-cooked, but still did pre-prepared. So everything was already cut up and marinated and all of that. So all I have to do is pour it in a pan and cook the thing. So it's really, really easy. And it really saved me time on the Sunday where I really do all the prepping. So I was able to rest for those 2 extra hours instead of cutting vegetables. So you better believe I'll be doing more of that during the next launch, and maybe even more. There might be a way to incorporate more of this in the weekly part of our family to help save some time too, but who knows. And I prepped a lot of marketing. So that doesn't help with the family stuff. The family doesn't care what I did, but I prepped a lot of marketing stuff ahead of time. So that's where it comes into play, where I really should have prepped my family 2 weeks ago instead of these 2 weeks, because that's when I was working nights and weekends and felt really guilty about it. I think if I had prepped them before and made that commitment of, okay, I may not be fully present right now, but it's just a season. I wish I had said that earlier. And so I will be noting that for sure. But over the next few weeks, like everything is pretty much done. All the emails are written, all the social media posts are written and scheduled. And I have modified things, I've changed things beforehand. Like I've canceled 2 emails. I decided that email doesn't feel right now. I'm going to send a different one, but everything has been pre-written. What I know is that if you wait until those precious moments right before you're sending an email or writing a social media post, if you wait for those moments to actually do the writing, you never know where your head's going to be in that moment. So maybe you're feeling really uncomfortable about marketing. You don't want to write a social media post right then. That's not good. So I did all of that ahead of time, which was really, really helpful in terms of where I'm sitting today. Another really fun question that I got from one of the members is, will I hire an assistant, or do I already have one for this launch and in the membership? And since it came from a current member, I do want to dive into a few extra things too. I'm extremely blessed to have a virtual assistant that does help me for a few hours a week. And she has been helping me for this entire year. She primarily helps me with the podcast. She gets the beautiful show notes up so that my main job is to record the episode. And then I get it to her, and she'll continue to do this, and it's a huge help. So I have had some help on the back end of a few things. But as for using an assistant more for the next launch, the answer is definitely yes. There are a few things that I will be outsourcing next time because I've gotten my hands dirty and I understand the process and I can hand it off now. One of those is copywriting. I've actually already hired Allison Gower to rewrite all of my launch emails for the next launch. She was actually on the podcast a few weeks ago and was just so incredible. She was incredible to work with, and I cannot wait to look at the stats between this launch and next launch to see how the emails really help the process. I'll also use that copy that she writes that will help me inform my social media post and the website copy. So I'll most likely use an assistant to help me update my website and definitely schedule some social media posts. So that'll take a few things off of my plate as well. But as for using an assistant inside the membership, this is something that I've definitely thought about, but it's a little bit tricky. And I'm going to be really cautious about how I do this, because what I'm hearing from every single member who's in the membership right now, they say they love that they get me in the membership. So me being present is really important to me. So that's not something I want to compromise on. But there are so many other things I can use an assistant for that I definitely will be utilizing more so. So things like getting the new members into the secret, private, whatever it's called on Facebook now, group. That is a few step process now because of the new rules with Facebook. So I would love to have help with that so it could happen quicker. Because if I don't see the notifications come through, I can't get it approved quickly. So that would be really helpful. Things like uploading content to the membership platform that I use, the videos, the PDFs, the creation of the PDFs that go along with the videos, and scheduling emails that go out to all of the membership list. These are the things that I could definitely use an assistant for, and I hope to do more of it. That way, my attention is in creating the content and showing up for members' questions. That's the really big thing that I don't want to let go of right now, is answering questions. So if I can figure out some way of an assistant helping in the Facebook group without me not seeing a question, I will definitely be utilizing that. But if not, I'll probably be the primary person in the Facebook group until it's just physically not possible for me to answer all of the questions. And then, of course, the next question that came along was, will you be capping the membership at a certain point? So you just heard me say that until it's impossible for me to answer questions, right? That becomes impossible when there's a lot of people, right? So I do think there'll be some processes in place later that aren't in place right now. At this moment, I actually don't plan on capping the membership, but I want to explain why. And it's really because of the purpose of the membership. And my purpose is to help yoga teachers market themselves in an authentic way so that you can earn more money and live the life that you want to live while doing what you love, which is teaching yoga. And with that purpose, I believe wholeheartedly that I can serve a lot of yoga teachers in a very effective way. I believe that at this price point, at $25 a month, it is a great price point for me to be able to help so many yoga teachers. And I also believe that a large community will help yoga teachers do this in a very effective way too. Because if you think about it, I can give you my opinion, but what if you have the opinion of 20 other yoga teachers who've tried something before? Or what about 100 yoga teachers that have tried something before and can chime in and give you their experience? This would be such a wealth of knowledge to have. And I believe that as the community grows, it's actually going to help more yoga teachers. And not just because they're in the membership, but because we have a community that can help one another. You can troubleshoot things together. I'm not always online. And because of that, I want to have other yoga teachers who are ready to help in building this community as well. But what I will be keeping track of and absolutely paying attention to every single day is the culture of the community. And if I feel at any point that the culture of the community is changing in not a positive way, then I will make some changes. I don't know what those changes will be or, what the issue will be. But what I do know is that right now, with the founding members and the members who have joined, the community is strong and amazing. And everyone is helping one another out, jumping in, welcoming each other, and really encouraging each other to grow the business. And this is without me being in there every second of the day. This is the community in and of itself. So I want to continue to hold the space for the community, and I will be the person that's paying attention to that culture as well. And I want to listen to my members. If all of a sudden not everyone is saying the community is the best part, right? I love that I get to provide video tutorials and educational content for yoga teachers, but it's undeniable that it's the community that's bringing everyone together so fast, and it's the thing that is valued the most. And so that is the thing that I will be paying attention to absolutely the most. But I can promise you that I have some processes in place to make sure that I do, and my founding members are absolutely one of them. The founding members jumped in really early, and I truly believe that they will reach out to me and say, "Hey, Amanda, we've got some things going on here, and I think you need to know about it." It's not just me that's in the group and paying attention. I truly believe the founding members will talk about it, and I believe I would know from members overall too. But going back to that purpose, I want to make sure that the membership is in a place where it's not so expensive that yoga teachers can't join. And at $25 a month, I feel really good about that price. Maybe it will go up. I'm not saying that it never will go up, but I don't want it to be super expensive. So for me, I want to keep a tab on the cost of the membership and making it accessible to as many yoga teachers as possible with keeping the culture in mind. So that's the overall goal, and I'm looking forward to welcoming more yoga teachers in and keeping tabs on everything going on, because I really do think that I can keep this culture of a strong community even with, and actually probably more effective with, more people in the membership. The last few questions that I will be talking about today is nothing about my launch, but people were asking about how early to market something. So since I'm talking about launching my membership and how this is a heavy time of marketing, I'm getting the questions of how early to start marketing something as a yoga offering. And the general rule and the guideline is this: the more expensive the offering is, the more time you need to market it. So if you think about your drop-in class for $15, someone can make that decision right now. Just like me, I'm talking about the membership that's $25. It's $25 a month, but it's not that expensive. For most people, that can fit in your budget. It's just whether you want it right now, if this is a priority, and if it's not, that's okay. But if it is, usually $25 a month is going to be okay. So in that case, I didn't need months and months to do this. I can do a 2-week launch period. But if you have a $200 workshop, people need more than a month to think about this. I've actually had several people tell me and say, I wish people would advertise their workshops a few months in advance, and not just for the budget, but also for the time on the calendar. People need to plan. They need to plan. So right now, it's September, and if you're listening to this in real time, I want you to be thinking about your holiday workshop. Please do not start advertising that on December 1st. People need time, especially during the busy holiday season. So get it on the calendar now and start telling people about it. Sell it out early. People will totally still show up. They will. Think about it like a wedding. There are people that send out the save the dates a year in advance. This gives people time to book their travel if they need to travel. So on that note, if your people have to travel to you, please give them enough notice. There is a guideline that says that for every $500 the offering is, you want to give yourself 90 days to market that offering. And I really like that, and I think it's really helpful, but just remember, your offering might be $25 or $15. It doesn't mean you give people one day to talk about it a little bit more. So for instance, I'll be talking about the membership on and off all year, but there's just heavy parts of the launch period that's only 2 weeks. And then on that note, there was another question that was related to how long you should market something before you start seeing results. And this is a really tough question. It's kind of one of those, well, it depends answers, but I'm going to do a little bit better than it depends, because it really comes down to a few factors, and I'm going to outline the 3 factors that are most likely coming into play. The first thing is, how are you actually promoting your offering? How often are you promoting that offering? Because if you're not sharing about that offering enough, then you're not going to see results. So you got to check in with yourself and say, am I actually talking about this and promoting it in a way that I need to? The second thing that could be coming into play is, who is seeing your messages? Is it the right person? You could be talking about it all day long, but if you aren't talking about it to the right person, they're not going to purchase the yoga offering that you're offering to them. And the third thing is, what words are you using? Because if you're not using the right words that are resonating with your dream student, then they're not going to convert either. So those are the things you want to keep in mind. And if you're not seeing traction with something, what I want you to do is to focus on one at a time. If you try and dig into all 3 of those right away, you're going to get overwhelmed and you're not going to find the answer. But start with, how often are you promoting it enough? If the answer is yes, Amanda, I'm talking about it every dang day, then move to number 2. Who is seeing your messages? Is it the right person? Are you using the right marketing channels? Who are you getting this message in front of? And if it's not the right person, then I want you to start talking to different people. And the third thing is the messaging. So that's usually what people go to first. Oh, the message isn't working. And so they change the message. But I want you to start with the other things first, because you might be using a great message, but you're not saying it enough or showing it to the right person. But if you got the other 2 things and you're still not seeing traction, then try another message. And at that point, what I want you to do is reach out to anyone who you've worked with in that capacity before. So if it's private clients, ask them how they describe you and your yoga session to other people. If it's a workshop, have you offered that workshop before? Reach out to the people who took the workshop and get a testimonial from them. Ask if they want to attend again. You just never know. The thing is if you can use other people's words, you're more likely to see traction. You heard me do this at the beginning of the podcast. I talked about how the members are talking about the membership. That is very purposeful. Number 1, it shows what real people are saying. It's not me talking about my own thing, it's other people talking about it. And the other thing is, it's so much easier to have other people talk about it than it is when you're in the middle of a heavy marketing season and you don't want to talk about yourself anymore or whatever you're offering. It's easier to have other people talk about it. And people want to support you 90% of the time. I don't know if that's a real statistic, but let's just go with it. 90% of the time, people want to support you and want to help you fill your classes or your workshop. So let them help you. They need you to ask, because I don't think my members would just reach out and say, hey, Amanda, I think you're awesome. Maybe they would, but they're busy. These yoga teachers are hustling. They are working on growing their business. They are not thinking, how can I support Amanda right now? That's not their job. I had to ask. And say, hey, let me know what you think about the membership, and what would you tell a yoga teacher who's on the fence about joining? And that's exactly what they did. They started writing right away. They didn't even hesitate. So your students won't either, trust me. So that wraps up the questions that I got. And so I figure I'll tell you what I have left to do. What I have left to do for the next 9 days of my launch is I have to show up. I have to show up every single day. I need to finish strong, and I need to be here for all your questions as they come in. I know because I've heard from the members that I am providing something special to yoga teachers, and it would be sad if I didn't tell other people about it. And I need to read your words of encouragement every single day. So members who've sent me words of encouragement, they're sitting in front of me right now. I'm looking at them as I record this podcast because they are on my wall. All the new members that are jumping in and saying how excited they are to be in the membership. Oh, I cannot tell you how important it is for me to see those words and see the excitement. This is what will keep me going, and this is what I would tell you to do. If I was coaching you through a launch, I would tell you to keep showing up, to keep reading your students' words, and to not give up. I want you to finish strong, and all you have to do is show up for your dream student. So that is what I'm going to do over the next 9 days. And since it's all still about me in this episode, which is kind of weird, I am going to give myself a next best step. And if you're listening to this and you're going through a launch at any point in time in your business and you're listening to this for inspiration, I want this to be your next best step too. And so what it is I need to figure out what I'm going to do to celebrate after the launch is over. I had a friend that asked me what I was going to do once the doors close and I record the last podcast episode, and I didn't know what to say. I haven't thought about what I'm going to do. So that is my next best step. I am going to decide, am I going to go out for a nice dinner? Am I going to buy myself something? Am I going to walk away from my computer for 3 days? I don't know what I'm going to do to celebrate, but I need to figure that out so that I can start looking forward to it. It's something that I probably should have done a long time ago, but I'm making it my next best step for now. So until next time, give yourself permission to show up for your dream student and grace along the way. Talk to you soon.